Hi. Welcome to Movies Reflexed. Today, I will show you a 2016 horror movie titled The Evil in Us. Watch out for spoilers. Take care. At the start of the movie, we see that the owner of the building has complained to police because a party is going on in one of the apartment of his building with loud music. For this, the adjoining residents are being disturbed. When the police approach there, then the building owner takes them near that apartment. No one opens the door in spite of knocking the door for many times. So, the owner unlocks that door using his extra keys. They witness nobody there as they enter the room. And a door was stained with blood. When they enter that room, then they are left shocked. Because there were lying dead bodies. They were mutilated. A police officer immediately turns off the music. One of the lying bodies was still alive. She gets up shouting. Then, the scene shifts to a couple. They were in their car. The girl's name is Bree. Bree's friend was going to pick one of his other friend. Because they were about to go for a holiday trip today. After this, some more peoples are shown. They were also in their car. They were also friends of Bree. The boy's name was John among them. They were also to join them for the holiday. After this, a detective is shown. He had come here for the investigation at the place of crime. Coming here, he asks one of the officers, "How did they die? Did you get any weapons?" That officer replies, "No, there was no weapons on the scene. And the bones of the dead bodies has been crushed. There are also marks of bites on their dead bodies." Then, the detective gets a half-torn photo from there. He keeps it in his custody. Then, detective says to his officer, "Make a DNA test of them. And also check their phone call records. I need this information quick." And he goes to the hospital to check that survivor girl who got up alive from these dead bodies. He asks her, "What had happened with you? Who killed all your friends? And how did bite marks appeared on your body?" Seeing him, that girl gets worried. As a result, the doctor asks him to leave from there. That patient's condition is worsening. They all gather at a place. They were all sailing to an island for a party by boat. Then, Bree observes that John is acting weirdly. But she ignores it. And they all set sail in the boat. Then, an old man is shown. He was moving to a basement. He was a statesman. And the basement where he had arrived was heavily guarded. There were some cabins where a couple had been imprisoned. On the other side, all these friends had arrived on the island. There was a cottage for them to stay. The captain of the boat says the owner of this cottage has committed suicide. Radio is also available here. If you face any emergency, call me. Otherwise, I will return here after 2 days. Saying it, he leaves from there. After this, all of them enjoy a lot. Contrarily, that detective was getting all the information about the wounded girl. He finds the other part of the torn photo. John was sitting along with her in that photo. Then, he moves to that officer to whom he had asked about that girl's phone call records. That officer tells him her last call had been dialed to John. And the call duration was 2 to 3 minutes. Then, the detective asks the officer to get all the details about John. On the other side, John is seen at the bathroom. He was taking drugs there. After it, he comes outside. All friends are playing outside. Later, John starts to take wine. Here, John himself was taking drugs, and he also gives one packet of drug to one of his friends. On the other side, the police had gotten the details about John. He was delivering all the information to the detective through a call. He tells him John is only 21 years old. In spite of this, he had been jailed twice. And he gets angry on minor issues. He is an aggressive person. On top of it, he takes drugs and alcohol too much. He was also arrested for the crime of drug taking. Now, John's much personal information is revealed here. They were all negative aspects. It indicates that there are issues about John. One more fact is revealed about him. He had crushed his stepfather's head with a bat at the age of 16 in aggression. And it became the reason of his sending to the psychiatric hospital. He was treated there for 6 months. Then he recovered. The detective says, "Okay. But investigate more about John. We may get more hints about him." All the friends were taking drugs there. Now, Bree wasn't feeling good about it. So, she comes outside to freshen. Then, her best friend comes there and accompanies her. Then, he proposes her for marriage. Bree is excited on it. Then, that couple is shown. Who were imprisoned in the basement cabin. Gradually, their behavior was getting aggressive. There was security guard watching them getting wild. But he doesn't act anything. Afterwards, it is shown on the monitor screen that there are also many such peoples imprisoned in those cabins. They are also getting aggressive. And the statesman was feeling excited seeing them. Then, one of the boys among the friends noticed that John's friend is crying in a room. Then, he asks her, "What happened? Is everything all right? Why are you crying?" Then, that girl says, "I like you, not John." Then, that boy relaxes John's friend. At the same time, they hear the opening sound of the door. Coming out of that room, she acts in such way that nothing has happened. As she is moving to her friends then, after this, John comes to that room. And he begins to suspect a little bit. His friend was hiding behind the door in that room. Then, John moves to the washroom. And when he comes outside then, he observes his male friend while going outside. So, he gets aggressive on his friend. He begins to turn bad. Then, John's male friend asks him, "Are you alright?" John replies on it, "Yeah. I am alright." Afterwards, they both join their friends outside. John was realizing as such as all his friends are laughing at him. And the faces of everyone was appearing awkward to him. So, John punches his male friend, who had comes out of his girlfriend's room. Bree tries to relax John here. When she looks into his eyes, she becomes scared. Because his eyes had turned into blood like red color. It was looking like as he has been possessed. After a while, he moves to the forest immediately. Then, his girlfriend also runs after him to talk to him. And the rest of them come inside the house. Then, they all asks him, "What did you actually do? That he became angry with you?" He negates saying, "I did nothing." Then, Bree's friend go to the forest with torch and search for John and his girlfriend. On the other side, the detective is investigating. Coming to that wounded girl, he asks, "What happened that day?" That girl says, "My friend had attacked me." The detective asks, "Why did they do it?" That girl doesn't give any response to it. She begins to cry in fear. When that detective begins to leave to call the doctor, then that girl vomits blood. There was the cut finger of her friend there. Seeing it, that detective is left shocked. After it, the people in the island are shown. Suddenly, he hears the shouting of Bree's friend. Then, that boy runs to them, where they meet John's girlfriend. She was very injured. Lifting her, they both bring her back. Bree attempts to contact the boat's captain through the radio. But he was in a pub drinking alcohol. Then, those friends were trying to stop the bleeding of John's friend. They were really scared with the happening. They hear a voice all on a sudden. Bree's friend goes to check. There was no one else but John. He was standing there like a zombie. Suddenly, he attacks his friends. Then, they hurriedly close the door. John couldn't enter due to it. Then, one of their female friends' condition begins to get worsen. And her eyes' color had also turned red blood. She was also feeling as all of her friends are laughing at her. And they are deforming their faces. Meantime, John's girlfriend attacks her. And she victimizes her after biting on her throat. After this, she also attacks her rest of the friends. Then, one of their friend attacks her with a hammer. And he hits her so much that she dies there. At the same time, his condition is also worsening. His eyes had also turned into red as blood has penetrated into his eyes. And he was also observing the same as the others were observing. It means his friends are laughing at him with weird faces. Suddenly, John comes inside cracking the door. Then, they all run upstairs instantly. Then, John bites Bree's friend's leg. But they somehow manage to get out of the room jumping through the window. Then, one of their friends locks himself into a room. There was a little room near the cottage. There, Bree and her friends are hidden there. On the other side, the couple who was in the cabin, the male of the couple, had eaten his wife while biting. And that man has lost his controls. He was behaving like crazy. Seeing him like this, that man was feeling happy. Bree notices that her friend's eye color is also changing. They are also turning like blood red. Then Bree ties her friend. So that she may stay secured. And she herself leaves to ask for help contacting through the radio. Detective comes to know that it is a virus. And this virus spread through drugs. And someone has willingly spread it. Its infection remains for a while in the human being. But this virus is so harmful that it may convert a human being into an animal. When it affects on a human being then, that person doesn't know what he is doing. Now, Bree wasn't infected because she never took any drugs. Then, that detective goes to that wounded girl. And he asks her, "Did you take any drugs? If you had taken IE, then who had offered you that?" She says on it, "John had given me that drug." The detective asks, "Is he your friend?" She tells, "No. He is not my friend. Now, the detective says to his officer while calling that, get the data of John's friend. He also asks him to trace her in order to know where she is at that time. Bree again comes to take help while contacting through the radio. Then, she notices that John and his friend are fighting with each other. They had become bloodthirsty. John kills his friend there. Bree launches some firecrackers into the air, taking them. Due to this, John's attention is diverted and Bree gets a chance to enter the house. Then, she immediately attempts to ask for help through the radio. At the same time, another friend comes to her and attacks her. Boat's captain instantly goes to help when he hears the radio. Hearing their shoutings, John also approaches there. Now, a fight takes place between John and his friend. They were both infected. Then, Bree gets the opportunity to flee. She comes outside running. John and his female friend fight a lot. Then, John kills her. After this, John attacks Bree. But she pushes him away. And he falls into the fire and catches fire. Afterwards, Bree again comes to the cottage while escaping from there. Going there, Bree notices that her fiance has escaped from there while cutting his hands. After it, Bree begins to move to the shore. Her fiance attacks her on the way. She somehow manages to escape from there. But her infected friend was still not stopping to chase her. Seeing it, Bree jumps into the water. Then, her friend also jumps into the water. The boat captain had also reached there. Then, he drags Bree into the boat from the water. But the infected catches the boat captain. Then, Bree fires the boatman's gun at him. Meanwhile, John also appears there and attacks them. And Bree also fires the gun at him. But due to the attack, the boat captain is killed here. Now, Bree was also wounded. Next day, John's burnt face is shown. It was looking super creepy. Now, John had restored his senses. Observing Bree and the boat's captain, he cries a lot. On the other side, that man in the cabin also cries a lot seeing his dead wife. But that old man and his wife were feeling excited seeing all this. Their experiment had gotten success. Then, they kill all while spreading the poisonous gas into the cabin. So that there may be no evidence left and they may never get caught. On the other side, Bree is seen. She was still alive but wounded and unconscious. As she restored her senses, she says, "You are responsible for all these." Hearing it, John wants to kill himself while firing. But the gun was empty. That detective is seen. He comes there along with some police officers. When those police officers observe the gun in the hands of John, then they point their guns at him. Then, John directs the gun towards them to show it has no bullets. But those police officer thinks that he is going to shoot us. So, they fire their gun at him and kills John. The detective had known that John was trying to express himself. So he tries to stop the firing. But he fails to stop them. Then, TV news was broadcasting about these friends. And also about that drug. As it has a virus that is spreading rapidly. And all of them had become infected of it. Whoever is in touch with this virus is turned into a monster. And he begins to eat the human beings. Then, the same statesman is shown in the conference. He is telling, this virus is the attack of the terrorists. And the Prime Minister will not be able to get hold of this. If the nation selects me as the next Prime Minister, then I promise I will eliminate this virus. Then, it is seen that that man is growing that virus in a secret lab through the plants. It may be assessed here just how greedy he is. He had ruined so many lives to get to the position of Prime Minister. And he will do as such so the virus may spread even more. And he had manufactured its antidote before. When he will apply this antidote, then he will become the savior of humanity. He will definitely become the Prime Minister. And with it, the movie ends here.